Language and the Brain by Molly Joyce and Kendra Macmillan.
The human brain is an amazing organ, an evolutionary marvel. The evolution of language into the complex system we know today is an example of the brain's amazing abilities. Although we used to believe language processing was done solely in Broca and Wernicke's area, recent neuroimaging evidence proves otherwise. Unlike how the brain has a specific area for visual processing, language is so complex that it requires the entire brain. We begin to acquire language long before we are even born, learning things such as prosodic features while still in the womb. In fact, sensory and brain mechanisms are developed at 30 weeks of gestational age. A recent study has shown unborn babies are listening to their mothers talk during the last 10 weeks of pregnancy. 40 infants, about 30 hours old, and an even mix of girls and boys, were studied in Tacoma and Stockholm, Sweden. While still in the nursery, the babies listened to vowel sounds in their native and in foreign languages. Their interest in the sounds were captured by how long they sucked on a pacifier. Longer or shorter sucking for unfamiliar or familiar sounds is evidence for learning because it indicates that infants can differentiate between the sounds heard in utero. In both countries, the babies at birth sucked longer for the foreign language than they did in their native tongue. Learning a new language is easier for children than adults. This is because of the critical period for language acquisition. We now know infants are able to discriminate native and non-native speech sounds. The ability to perceive these phonemic contrasts evidently persists for several more years, as evidenced by the fact that children can learn to speak a second language without accent and with fluent grammar until about age 7 or 8. After this age, however, the ability to speak a second language with native fluency declines no matter what the extent of practice or exposure. The newborn study proves that our brains are equipped for language acquisition. Although there are many theories as to how this acquisition comes about, one thing that is sure is our brains possess the capacity for complex language systems. I say language systems because our brain come equipped to learn more than just one language. In fact, the current Guinness Book of World Records holder can speak up to 58 languages. But does learning more than one language change our brain structure? Are the brains of monolinguals and bilinguals different? The same neural structures in our brains are used to learn different languages. However, learning a new language does have an impact on the brain. Let's take a look at the bilingual brain for a moment. There are many benefits to having a bilingual brain. Learning a new language requires you to remember a different sound system, thousands of new words, a complex grammar system, ambiguous ways of expressing yourself, and a new writing system. To achieve this, you need to consistently use different parts of your brain. Some studies have shown that bilinguals use more areas of their brain during the same articulation and word retrieval exercises than monolinguals do. And other studies have found that the gray matter of the bilingual brain is denser than the gray matter of the monolingual brain. And differences can lead to big advantages for those who acquire a second language. Bilinguals have been found to have improved executive function, like better working memory, increased intellect, greater mental flexibility, and enhanced creativity. Bilinguals exercise more of their brain and can do better on exams than monolinguals. In addition, learning a second language can decrease the chance of getting Alzheimer's later in life. Being bilingual does help to shape the brain. However, these changes come about because of the frequency, intensity, and duration of the bilingual experience, as proficiency is positively correlated with the amount of brain change. Remember, the brain acts like a muscle. When you stop working out muscles, they go back to how they were prior to training. The same goes for your brain. If you discontinue learning a new language, all of the gain changes will return to pre-learning levels. So don't forget, you don't use it, you lose it.